Welcome back, everyone, to the Fly Culture Podcast with me, Pete Tigers. I hope you're well. I hope you're getting out doing some fishing. Perhaps it's grayling, perhaps it's pike, perhaps it's something else. But whatever it is, I hope you're enjoying it. Also, I'd like to say another thank you. I get so many messages from people who have been enjoying the podcast, and as ever, I always try and reply to them. If you sent them via our host Buzzsprout, thank you. I've seen a number of those recently from people, and I can't reply to those ones. I don't know why. It's probably my lack of skills with these sorts of things, but I have read them, so I'd like to publicly say a huge thank you for that. But on to my guest for today, and it's somebody that is so, you will get the sense when you hear the interview, their passion and their love for our pastime. They've not been doing it incredibly long period of time, but it doesn't matter. They love what we're doing just as much. And Hannah Arends is such a wonderful guest. I think you're going to enjoy the conversation that we're having. She's full of life, full of love for fly fishing. I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I have. Hannah, it's great to have you on the podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, Pete. I'm doing really fine. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
It's great to have you along. And for our listeners, can you tell us where you're based?
I'm from Germany. I'm from the southwest of Germany, really close to the Black Forest. I live in Freiburg, a small town, about 230,000 people living here, and close to the French and the Swiss border. Both countries are about half an hour away, so we're probably the last town down here in Germany that people know. Yeah.
And what does that mean then from a fishing perspective? Because in my mind, I can picture all of these mountains. Then if you're talking about the Black Forest and Switzerland, etc., must be a few streams around, right?
Well, the Black Forest isn't a really high mountain area. We have the highest mountain is about 1,400 meters high. And of course, there are the Swiss Alps, but we don't really go there very often because we just don't have the time. But we have beautiful hills, lots of forest, very small creeks. So if people talk about creeks or small creeks in other countries, I always think they don't know what a small creek is because we have small valleys, and it's just beautiful around here. And of course, we do have a lot of small rivers and waters, but they are not always really easily accessible to us.
And it's this time of year where we reflect a little on what has passed. And has it been a good season for you?
Yeah, it has actually been the best season ever for me because I started fishing only 4 years ago, so everything's still really new to me, and every year is getting better because I just learned so much during the last years, and I know what to do, and I know the water is better each year, and I know where to go, and it was really, really nice this year, and I had lots of great days at the water, and I really, really enjoyed it this year. Yeah.
What was the highlight?
The highlight? Geez, the highlight. I guess my highlight was really the last day of this fishing season. I was on my own again. I'm mostly on my own fishing, and it was really the last cast. I mean, it's stupid, right? But it was the last cast in the last tiny pool, and it just caught this beautiful, huge brown trout, the biggest fish I've ever caught so far, and just being there on my own, and I hadn't really thought that this would happen this year anymore, and it was just fantastic. It's going to stay in my memory for a long time, I guess.
And those things, when we're not fishing, stay in our minds, don't they? And take us through the winter where we're not fishing so much or may not be doing any fishing. It was similar for me that I often end the season thinking, well, that's another one where I didn't catch a salmon, and my last day of fishing, I managed to catch a salmon. It's similar for me in that sense, that has nourished me and kept me going, and it will keep me going through all those times. And you can sort of sometimes just close your eyes, can't you, and picture that moment, and it sticks with you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love thinking about those moments, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a job that I didn't like so much, and sometimes I used to take myself away, sit in the toilet for a bit, close my eyes, and walk up a river that meant a lot to me, and that sort of helps. It's funny how that aspect of it as well is really equally as important at times, isn't it?
I get up thinking about fly fishing. I think about fly fishing all day long. I go to bed thinking about fly fishing, and it has enriched my life so much. I never would have thought that fly fishing would have such a big impact on me and my life. And just having this energy and these moments behind and in front of me. And I often think about all these things, and it really helps me get along during stressy phases of my life. And it's just wonderful, really. I'm still amazed about what fly fishing can give me, actually. And I do have a busy job, yes, but I really love my job, so it's maybe not the way it was for you. But it did change a lot about me and how I work and how I do things. And yeah, these moments remembering are wonderful. Yeah.
Nice. You have a young family and a busy job, as you've said. Does that mean you have to snatch those moments on the river when you can, or do you like to give yourself a full day if possible?
Actually, both. Yeah, I have a busy job. I'm an you say occupational doctor, I guess, and my kids are 5 years, 10 years, and I'm a stepmom of a 15-year-old boy too. So there's always something going on, and um, my husband goes fishing too. So we'd always have to try to get the time. So one of us takes care of the kids, and the other one is allowed to go fishing. And I actually try to go out fishing during season at least twice a week if I can do, mostly in the evening when everybody else is at home. And if it's just 2 hours, I don't care. Just get out there and enjoy this short moments at the water. And on the other side, we do always plan that we're allowed, or we can actually make it possible to have a full day fishing. And sometimes my parents take care of our kids so we can go fishing together, what's great too, of course. And then we get off in the morning early and get home as late as possible. And a few times a year, I have the chance to go to Austria just for a weekend to go fishing with a very good friend. And then nothing else counts. It's just fishing and being out there. So it's pretty different, but I try to get out as often as possible. Yeah.
That sounds perfect to me. How did you said you're 4 years into your fishing career now. How did you actually get into it?
How did I get? Yeah. Well, I've always loved being out in nature and being outside. And my husband has been fishing for many, many years. And he's always been telling me, Hannah, you have to get fly fishing. You have to get doing that. I guess you'll love it. And I always said, no, I don't want to do that. Why should I go out fishing? Even though I always saw him come home really happy and relaxed, I knew it must be something special. But I guess it was just too busy, many years working, having really small kids. And then the pandemic came, and just had our daughter, and I was at home, and I thought, you know what, now I'm going to do it. In Germany, it's not easy to go fishing. You have to get a fishing license. You have to take practical and theoretical courses. You have to take an exam. So it's not just take the rod and go out fishing. That's not how it works. So you really have to get prepared and take the exam. And I just did it. I guess it wasn't the best decision I could ever make. And from then on, it just took over my heart. I know it's from then I just started fishing as much as possible. But the thing is, in Germany, you have to be a member of a fishing club. Otherwise, you don't have any access to water, more or less. So that's the next problem to get along with. And I was pretty lucky as a woman. It's easier to get into fishing clubs. So I'm a member of 2 clubs now and have lots of different waters to go fishing. And yeah, there's no way back now anymore. I guess I go fishing more often than my husband, actually. And he says it's not so much fun going fishing with me anymore because I catch more fish than he does. But that's not all what it's about, right? But yeah, and so now I'm fishing for 4 years, and I really, really love it.
Your enthusiasm and passion and love for it comes across, and that was going to be my next question. But something that you said about the exam, which I shudder when that somebody says to me the word exam, I get very, very nervous. But I can kind of see it from a from a fishing perspective. I'm guessing they're teaching you stuff like fish handling and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff as well, which is a great way for newcomers to understand those things rather than finding out the hard way, isn't it? And can you tell us what else is involved in the exam?
Well, it's about fishing, of course, fishing techniques, about different fish species, about handling the animals, about animal welfare, about the German laws you have to take care of, about different waters, about tackle. So it's a really wide field, and supposed to show that you know how to act on the water and how to handle the animals. And of course, Germany is a country full of regulations and laws, so there's no easy way to go fishing. But it's really exciting, especially if you're new to fishing. You learn a lot, and I really liked it. And it's you also have to take some practical lessons about fishing. It's mostly about spin fishing, not fly fishing. That's not the biggest part of it, of course. And how to kill a fish, of course, you have to learn that too. And yeah, I think it's not the worst thing to do, actually. Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic idea. It's got my mind spinning already because I think that's a wonderful way to bring people in. And I'm guessing on those courses that and the exam, etc., you met some people as well.
Well, actually, no, because it was during the pandemic and it was all online, except for the practical day. But the people come from all over our spots. So, yeah, on that day we met, but I'm not in contact with anybody else now. So, yeah.
But I still love the idea of it. I think it's a phenomenally good idea. So that's great from that. So the two rivers and the clubs that you belong to, how far are they from home? Are they long distance to travel?
It's very different. I can get on my bike and ride to the river within 10 minutes, or with the car up to the Black Forest within 20 to 30 minutes. And the biggest river I'm allowed to fish at is about almost 1.5 hours away, but it's worth it. But of course, I don't do it that often because it just takes time. Going there is okay, but riding home again is a bit annoying in the evening. Yeah, but it's between 10 minutes and 1.5 hours, depending where I want to go.
And since you've been doing this, what have you learnt about yourself since stepping into a river?
Well, stepping into a river, I'm a pretty nervous character, actually, and I always worry about everything, about me, my kids, the world. And stepping into the river is like stepping off a crowded bus to me. It's just getting off all the stress and all the things I think about. And I've learned just to concentrate and focus on something totally different and just um, enjoy the moment and take your time. I guess that's one of the best things I've learned, just to take your time and relax and don't think too much, just do what you're doing. And that's also something that changed my way of working with people, because I know it's not always awful what's happening, but there's always something that can change and make it a better day and a better way of life. And actually, me as a woman, I mean, it's always different. At least that's what I feel, being a woman fishing compared with guys fishing. Since I've started fishing, it's much easier to get in contact with many men. It sounds strange, maybe, but they accept me in a different way when I tell them I go fishing, and then we have a great start to talk about things. And yeah, I'm surprised, but that's the way it is. And yeah.
I recently did a podcast where I just talked into the microphone a couple of weeks ago, and I had a lot of feedback from people, really positive, which was very pleasing. Thank you for everyone who took the time to write to me or message me or call me. But I notice when I'm sort of in the river, I'm totally relaxed. My mind's clear. Everything
Yeah.
feels good. Do you sense when that switch has clicked to that other position? Is there is there something that you notice that you're doing that makes you realise, yeah, I'm totally relaxed?
It's actually, as soon as I get into the car, everything changes. As soon as I get onto the car and I know now I'm going to the river and I'm going fishing now, everything slows down, and it's just peace for me. Yeah, it's and of course, as soon as I get onto the water, it's everything's just fine. Everything's just perfect. Even if it doesn't work out the way it should do or the way I thought it might be, it's just that one moment, and I know whew, now everything's fine, and I don't think about anything else anymore. My mind is totally clear. Yeah.
And is that the trigger then, the getting into the car? That's the thing that sets it so you know, right, this is where I'm going. So I'm going off to do something fantastic and everything sort of slots into place.
Yeah, that's probably the best. No, well, it's not the best moment, but yes, I open the door, I sit down, I turn on the music, and then I'm off. And I don't care about anything else anymore. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. You've mentioned the clubs that you joined. Are you all about rivers then? Is it rivers for you?
Yeah, it's only about rivers. I mean, we do have some lakes too, but I don't do any lake fishing. Even though I thought about doing lake fishing during the closed season now, but it's just not the kind of style I like to do. So it's all about rivers, and it's actually river. Well, it's about small, tiny creeks. Yeah, it's really small, and pocket water fishing, and lots of trees and bushes around, and that's mostly the place I go fishing. Is very tough conditions, I'd say. Yeah.
That's the really nice thing, though, because the traditional route, certainly in the UK here, used to be generally lakes, and then you might progress onto rivers. And that's kind of nice that you've gone straight into the rivers. You've decided that's where I am. And the lakes, well, I might have a look at them. No, I won't. So does that mean your off season when you're not fishing is longer as a result of that?
Yeah, off season is a sad season to me. Off season to me is practicing my casting, not on the water, but on the in the garden or somewhere outside, and tying flies actually, and reading a lot of stuff about fly fishing. But the months from October to March are totally closed for me actually. Yeah.
And it makes those moments, the morning of the opening day of the season, still as exciting, right?
Oh yeah, I can't wait until I can't wait until March 1st next year again. I'm counting the days.
They'll come round quick enough. So let's look at how you like to fish. You said some interesting things there that I'm going to pick up on very, very shortly. But let's imagine you're heading to the river. You've made that drive. How do you like to fish? Do you like to fish the dry? Do you fish the nymph? Or do you set up for whatever you feel would work the best for you?
Well, I mostly go nymph fishing. I'm just starting to learn dry fly fishing. I don't know why I didn't get into that until now, really. So I'm mostly nymph fishing. I don't fish with streamers yet. I don't know. I always think, come on, I want to catch the fish with a nymph and not with this a big streamer, even though everybody tells me the streamer will bring you the big fish. So it's mostly about nymph fishing because it's really fast water, and I always think the dry fly won't help me, or at least I have the feeling I don't even see the dry fly. Maybe my eyes are not good enough. So when I go to the big river, I'm allowed to go fishing. I do try dry fly fishing, but I just started this season, and it was lots of fun, but I still have to learn a lot, and so mostly it's about nymph fishing. Yeah.
And when I asked that question, it suddenly dawned on me again. In my mind, I was picturing your river a fast flowing stream. So I'm guessing probably nymph is the best one. So, and how are you fishing that? Are you fishing an upstream nymph? Are you euro nymphing? Are you doing combinations?
I don't do euro nymphing, even though many people tell me euro nymphing would be the perfect way to fish these waters. But I fish upstream mostly, and of course I can't do really far casts because there's just not enough space. So it's more within 3, 4, 5 meters at the most of the time, but not doing any euro nymphing yet. Yeah. I think that's not the kind of fly fishing I want to do actually.
It's funny that, isn't it? Because it is such a effective method of fishing, and I'm kind
I
of
know.
with you on it. And I don't mean it in an elitist way. And I was fishing with my friend Warren the other day, and we were fishing a nymph, and it sometimes to sighted fish as well, which was really, really good fun. And we probably could have caught a bunch more fish if we went the Euro route. But I
Yeah.
like the aspect. Is it for you that the casting aspect is part of it, and that's why that other method isn't as
Yeah.
interesting for you?
I love casting. I could do casting all day long. I just love it really, really much. And I practice a lot, and I'd love to become a casting instructor one day, but there's still a way to go. And I have my a mentor who's doing training with me, and casting is a huge part of fly fishing to me. It's not just throwing in a heavy nymph to get this big fish down there at the bottom of the pool, but it's more about casting and this part of fly fishing. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. What is the best tip that you've had that's improved your fishing the most?
Take your time. Just take your time. Look at the water. Look where the fish are. What are they feeding? Take your time and just wait until you have a good feeling. Even while casting, don't try to be as fast as possible, but just slow down and yeah, take your time. I guess that was the most important tip for me. Yeah.
And you mentioned the word mentor, and of course, your husband fishes as well. Are they the people who have helped you the most get into fishing and love it so much?
Yeah, my husband was the first person who brought me to fishing, but I really have to admit he's not the most important person concerning fishing anymore. It's my FA mentor from Austria, and we talk a lot, and I've learned so much from him. And the problem is that me and my husband don't have the time to go fishing that much together. So I probably will turn to his mentor more or less during the next times because he can learn things from me now. But my mentor from Austria is actually really that one person that has told me so many things and made my fly fishing improve a lot. Yeah.
And so, do you get to fish with them?
Yeah. The 3 to 4 times a year I go to Austria. And during the other time, I practice and send videos to him so that he can see what I'm doing. And we talk about these videos via or online or with telephone. And that's the way we work.
And I'm assuming they're a casting instructor as well.
He's a casting instructor, yeah. And Germany isn't full of casting instructors. Fly fishing isn't that big as spin fishing, for example. So it's not easy to find somebody you can really work with. To me, it's really important to get along with the people I go fishing with. And I know there are great people out there, but I don't know if I'd get along with them. And to me, it's really important to have a connection to each other when we go fishing and talk about fishing on all these things. Yeah.
Fascinating you mentioned that because I talk about that a lot on here about finding the person to fish with because I don't know if you found it, but certainly I've made some quite large mistakes and realised when I'm on the river, I shouldn't have done this day, or I've said, I'm going to go and fish downstream for a bit and I'll come and find you a little bit later. But it's like you say, it's that connection, isn't it? And what do you look for then in a fishing friend?
What do I look for in a fishing friend? That's an interesting question. I don't know if I've really thought about that yet. I don't like being around with lots of people, actually. I like being on my own. And so if somebody's with me, it's important to me that I like quiet times. I don't like talking all the time. I like just being out there. So somebody who would be talking all the time would probably annoy me. Yeah. I've really never thought about the qualities somebody has to have. I think it's just I meet somebody I know, okay, come on, we get along and this is going to work out. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very, very good to me. So what is that perfect day on the river for you?
The perfect day at the river. The first thing is all day at the river, of course. And of course, good weather. That means not pouring rain all day, even though that can be nice too. But to me, it's just having time. And of course, I do want to catch fish. Yes, who of us doesn't want to catch fish if we go fishing? But I also just enjoy being out there on the water and watching everything else around. It's being out there in the nature and being away from everything else and taking a rest from time to time and watching birds or looking under stones and discovering the insects that are down there. And Of course, a perfect day is if I catch the fish I was trying to catch with my technique I was trying to use. But I'm actually it's always perfect to me. I always go home happy. Well, at least most of the time.
So tell me, are you competitive when you fish?
uh, I'd rather say no, but maybe my husband would probably say, yes, you are. Because if he catches more fish than I do, I, I, I do sometimes think, I wanted to catch that fish. Why is he catching a fish and I'm not catching it? But I try to stop these thinkings because that's not the biggest part about fishing. But I'm happy if other people I go fishing with catch their fish, but yeah, I do can get jealous if I don't catch a fish and everybody else does. Yeah.
And you mentioned about I'm fascinated to learn a little bit more about the fishing scene in Germany because I always assumed somebody once told me there was a film tour. And in Germany, the film went on in a cinema and the thing was absolutely packed. And I went to one down near where I live and there
Mhm.
was not that as many people there. So does that mean that it's a smaller but really, really enthusiastic group of people? Have you detected that? And also the clubs that you belong to, is there much where you get together or you do some work on the river and you get to meet people in that way? I'm just trying to get an idea of the fly fishing scene where you live and in Germany as a whole, really.
Yeah, the fly fishing scene in Germany isn't as big as it is in other countries, I think. Not like the scene in the US or Scandinavia or, of course, Great Britain, the UK, England, because there's a much longer tradition and it's a much bigger part of your everyday life. At least that's what I have the impression of. And yeah, the fly fishing scene in Germany is very enthusiastic. That's true. If we meet each other, it's great, but it's just, you just have to find those people. Around here, close to Freiburg, we're not many fly fishers. I don't know one other single woman fly fishing. I'm the only one around here. That's what's really sad. So the female community doesn't exist, at least not to me. And in my clubs, in my one of the clubs, I'm the only woman right now, and we do meet all few months and try to see each other. We have fly tying events. We work on the water for river conservation and do our best. I'm pretty committed to water protection here in Freiburg too. Um, but it's not like having big festivals or something like that. And we have the fly fishing tour, and it's in small cinemas, and then it's packed. Yeah, because everybody comes from all over just to see these movies, to see the other people, because we don't meet that often, at least not down here. So it's always special to meet, and it's fun, and I love seeing other people who love fly fishing as much as I do, but it's not on the regular basis as it seems to be in other countries. And I really miss that. I'd love a bigger community just to see each other without having to plan it for months or weeks ahead.
And have you found with your socials, and we'll get your contact details at the end, but I really enjoy seeing your social media posts. Has that opened up fly fishing on a wider basis to be able to interact and meet fellow anglers yourself?
Social media has opened up my fishing world a lot, just to see all these people all over the world, what they're doing and where you can go fishing and what they're up to, and getting in contact with them is great, especially getting in contact with other women. That's really special to me because I'm just feeling a bit alone down here. So that's the best part about social media, is getting in contact with these other people, even though I sometimes have the feeling everybody else is having more time on the water and catching more fish and traveling around much more than I am. And sometimes I have to stop looking at all these things just to get a better feeling. But I love talking via social media with other people, and yeah, just enjoy this passion we have together.
And for you, I want to come back to the river a little bit more, because I'd like to understand about the trout and pocket water. And I'm with you. Pocket water is my love as well. I just enjoy every second that I'm fishing those sorts of places and the surprises that come out of some of these places that we fish. But what sort of fish do you have there? Is it browns, rainbows, brook trout, grayling? What do you have, and what are you catching?
It's mostly a brown trout, native brown trout. We don't have any stocking or fish stocking in our rivers. We do have a few rainbows, even though they shouldn't be there, but they're going to be the trout that will probably get more and more in our rivers because of climate change. We don't have any brook trout here. Only have we almost don't have any grayling. They used to live in our rivers many years ago. We used to have a salmon over 100 years ago, but all of them are gone. So it's mostly about native brown trout, and I love, 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 love brown trout. It's the best. But of course, I don't have the experience fishing other fish, so that's what my heart is burning for, and I just love them. Yeah.
Have you caught a grayling?
I actually have got one tiny, tiny little grayling. It was a really huge surprise, and I had to send the picture to all my club members, telling them, "Look what I got! This tiny little grayling," and everybody was happy about it. But yeah, it was about, I think it was about 15 centimeters, so it was tiny. But of course, it was a sign that they are there, and we hope that they might get more. But it was very special, yeah, and tiny.
And you touched on the climate a little bit there, and one of the things I'd love to know is the state of the rivers, because my guess is that they're running from mountain streams, etc., etc. So pollution isn't something that you have to deal with a great deal.
Yeah, pollution is not that much of a problem, but the problem is that there's many years, or most of the years, we don't have enough water, actually, because it's not raining as much as it should be. This year and the last year were pretty good, but the years before, sometimes the river that flows through Freiburg runs dry, and so that's the biggest problem we actually have in our city river. The temperatures in the water sometimes rise up to 27 degrees because it's just almost no water left, and that's awful. But the little creeks in the Black Forest, they get along quite well, but the pollution is not the problem. No, it's more the amount of water we get. Yeah.
Let's move on a little bit. One of my favourite subjects, and we'll move on to tackle. And I wonder where you stood with tackle. Are you constantly looking at gear ads online in magazines and trying to come up with a reason why you need something new?
When I started fly fishing, all these guys were just talking about tackle all the time. A new rod, a new reel, a new fly line. And I was thinking, why do you guys always have to talk about tackle? Why do you always need new stuff? And I just couldn't get it. And of course, now after being fishing for a few years, I understand why you like to get new things and try new rods or new reels. But I'm not a person who would buy all kinds of new stuff all the time. I have my rods and my reels, and they work out very well. And I don't think that new things will improve my fishing, even though I like trying out new things. But it's not about checking ads all the time and trying to get something totally different. No, because I think in the end it's not going to be that different at all. At least that's what I think. Yeah.
You're exactly right as well about that. But do you have a favourite rod?
I don't have that many rods. I have 4 rods. I guess that's not much for passionate fly fishers, right? I have a loop and I have an Orvis. But if someone asks me what rod do you use or what reel do you use, I sometimes really have to look what am I using here right now, because it's not that important. It's working, and I like it, but it's not that I could tell you all the kind of all the tackle I'm using, and I couldn't even tell you which fly line I'm using right now. It's on the reel and it's working, and that's it. Yeah.
That's all we need. As long as it works, It's good. So another great answer. Let's look a little bit wider from that then. Do you have a favorite piece of gear that you might pack? It might be a jacket, it might be a burner to make a cup of coffee, whatever it may be. What's your favorite thing that you like to put in the car or onto the bike when you're heading out for a day?
My favorite thing I take though, well, I do always take a cup of coffee with me, but I don't make coffee on the water. So I always have coffee with me. Yeah, that's important. And I always have chocolate with me, but that's not tackle, of course, but it's important for me to stay happy during a long day on the water. Um, the most important thing I really like. Hmm, difficult. My fly box probably.
These are really
No,
good
nothing.
answers.
Nothing special actually. No, I love my fly box, and I have lots of stuff that I take along, but there's not this one thing that I always have to take my fishing license with me because otherwise I might get a problem. But that's not the thing I love, of course. Yeah.
I like exactly where you're coming from with this as well. We don't need a lot of stuff. It can be incredibly easy. And if it works, go with it. And I think it really is as simple as that. But you talked about how much you enjoy the casting aspect of it. And you said that you really like to practice it as well. So, what are the practice drills that you do when you go out into the garden or to a park and go and do some casting? What is it that you like to practice on?
Well, of course, I still practice my basic casts just as a basis for everything, and then right now I'm working on the roll cast and the switch cast and these things. Of course, I have to go to the water to practice these things, and I try to practice the double haul. I'm getting better at that right now. That was a great improvement for me to just feel it now and not just having to think about these things. I always wait for the moment when I just feel that the cast is working out and I just don't have to think about the first step and the second step, but just do it. And I just feel the line is doing the thing I want the line and the rod to do. And that's the best thing. And yeah, I have lots of casts I want to practice, and I just work through them. I have I have my list, and I practice them on different days. And yeah.
That's good. We should all practice. And my friend Jim, I think in the second ever podcast we did, said, or he may have said it at a demonstration. I've sort of kind of nicked it as well, but it's Jim's work. But, golfers go to the driving range, and it's no bad thing that we do a similar sort of thing too, right?
No, it's a great thing, and I actually need it. It gives me a good feeling, and if I go out practicing, even if it's just for 15 or 20 minutes, I go out to the park, and most of the time somebody comes by and asks me, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you playing with a dog?" And I go, "No, there's no dog around. This is I'm practicing for fly fishing or fly casting. Most people here don't even know what that is, so I always meet or often meet people and get in to talking with them. What's big fun too, and kids come to me and want to watch me, and sometimes they ask if they're allowed to take my rod, and I say no. Sorry, it's too expensive. I'm not going to give you this rod. But if anybody else gets curious about fly fishing just because watching me, I'm really happy too. And yeah, so that's also meeting people. That's fun of it. Yeah.
And I'm going to reiterate the practice thing that Jason Borger said on here a few podcasts ago. Even if you do a bit of casting practice over the winter, practice what you do. It was just the most straightforward advice I've ever heard. If you're doing a lot of side casting, practice your side casting. If you're doing a lot of roll
Yeah,
casting,
absolutely.
it just
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. So I'm going to
Yeah.
reiterate that one. You touched earlier on books. So what are you enjoying reading? What is it? Do you like to read instructional books? Do you like to read just stories, or a combination of all of them?
Actually, everything. I love reading instructional books about casting and how to get rid of mistakes you might or problems you might have about casting. And I love reading books about fly tying and why people use those flies they are tying and where they use them and which fish they try to catch with these flies. And I've also read books about people going fly fishing. I love David Coggins and his stories about fly fishing and just how they travel along and reading what kind of trouble they have at different places of the world. And then I feel better that I'm not the only one who doesn't catch the fish I try to catch. And so it's a mixture of everything, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your other favourites? Give us a couple of other authors that you enjoy to read.
That's a difficult question again here. I like the name of I like what's his name again? Ed. Ed Jaworowski. What's his name?
Ed Jarowski, casting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Of course, I've read Mel Krieger. Of course, I guess everybody reads Mel Krieger when it comes to fly casting. And I often read the same books again because each time I read them, I learn something new after having tried these things on the water on myself. And now I understand what they were talking about earlier. And I like Christopher Roan's book about fly casting too. What's a beautiful book.
Good choices. Mel Krieger's a great one. I read that when I was studying for my first casting exam, I think. And WUMP is the term he uses for the casting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember that well. I remember that very, very well. You also touched on tying flies. Do you enjoy that? Was that the next sort of step that you thought, actually, I'd like to catch a fish on a fly you'd tied yourself?
I actually started fly tying before fly fishing because I didn't have the chance to go fishing before I got a member of the clubs I'm in now. So I had to do something else. And it was pretty natural. I didn't even know that you could buy flies because my husband was always tying flies. So I thought, of course, every fly fisher has to tie their own flies. And that's what we did. And during autumn and winter, we sit here in our living room and tie flies. And so it was just the thing you do. You tie your flies and you catch fish with your own flies. And I've actually never caught a fish on a bought fly yet. So it's all caught on my own flies. And of course, it's great if you tie a fly and the fish will take it. What can be better than that moment? Yeah. And of course, you learn a lot about when you start tying flies. You learn so much about the insects and all these the animals fish feed, and it's not only tying the fly, but all about these things happening underwater, on water, and yeah.
What was that moment like then, catching your first fish on a fly? And of course, it was on a fly you'd tied yourself. What was that like? And do you remember it well?
When you ask me now, actually, because you asked, have you ever caught a grayling? The first fish I actually caught was a grayling. That's true. And that was a big one. It was a surprise to me. And I didn't know it was that special. And I was out fishing with my husband. We bought a day ticket for a river to go fishing, and it happened so suddenly. I just threw the fly, and the fish took it, and I caught it. And it was quick and fast somehow. And of course, I remember that fish, and I remember what it looked like, and but. It did overwhelm me for a short moment, but then we just went on, and the next fish came. Yeah, but yeah, that was the first grayling. Actually, almost forgot that fish. Yeah.
And so, did you realise when you decided to take this up, were you going to go all in on it, or was there a point that you realised, yes, this is life changing for me to be able to do it?
I really didn't think that it would change my life that much as it did. So in the beginning, I just thought, okay, come on. My husband says it's going to be good. Come on, I'll try it. What can I lose? Let's do it. And I really picked up fly fishing 2022 or 3 when I took my first casting lessons and just fell in love with it. And from that, it's really, I can't imagine one day not thinking about fly fishing. So it's, It's so much to me. It's so much. I always talk about fly fishing with my husband. I tell my kids, "Come on, come fishing with me," even though they're not interested into it that much. And I'd love to do much more fly fishing that I'm actually able to do because I just don't have the time or the money. I mean, fly fishing is expensive too, but especially I don't have the time to do it as much as I'd like to do it. Yeah.
And what's your number one pattern? Which is the one that you most enjoy tying and you get the most success with?
I guess it's a classical pheasant tail nymph, a gold-headed pheasant tail. That's always going to work in our waters, always, 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 always. Yeah. And I like tying dry flies, even though I don't fish them as much as I should do. Maybe I just like tying dry flies.
I like the pheasant tail, and you may be aware, you may not be, of Yvonne Chonard, Craig Matthews, and a gentleman from Italy, Max, I think, have a book about just purely pheasant tail and how that you can fish and tie any pattern using pheasant tail, which is fantastic. So keep an eye out for that. I was very lucky; I got to see it pre-publication, so I have it
Oh,
online, and
okay.
it's really, really good. So can't recommend that one highly enough. So go take a look at that if you get a chance, and listeners, it's worth a look as well. And it may
Great to
make
know.
people look at tying a little bit more differently as well, which I'm interested to hear about. But coming back to family a little bit there, I had a question. I was going to say you have the young family, which we touched on, and I was going to ask you if it's inevitable that they'll fish, but they're not showing any interest in it. Do you think that you will try and encourage it, or do you think you will just let them take their own paths? Because I know with my daughter that she used to fish a hell of a lot with me, and just recently, actually, she's been picking up a double-handed rod for salmon and quite enjoying it. But if I said, "Do you want to come fishing?" the answer would probably be no. Are
No.
you sort of thinking how you'd manage that with your children too?
I think I'm not going to try to push it all the time because that's not going to make it better. Of course, our daughter is only 5 years old, so she's still pretty young. And as it's pretty difficult to go fishing here, anyways, it's not the best way to start fly fishing for a child, I guess. Our boys just aren't interested in it. I don't know why, but they just don't want to go out with us. Our little girl always tells us she wants to become a fly fisher like mom one day, and she wants to have some waders now, and she wants to have an own fly rod. And I guess we'll try to work on that next year a bit more. And I think she might love it too, but she's still so small and just not easy because we don't have that many fish in our rivers. And if you go fishing with a kid and they won't catch a fish, it's not that much fun for them in the beginning, at least. I think they're not just happy about being out there. They want to see the fish we're after, and but if she goes along with us and she's allowed to see the fish, and then she's amazed by them, and she sees how happy we are. So maybe one day she'll do it too. I don't know. Everything can change with the kids every day.
Nice. We touched on social media, and as I said, you're relatively active or active on there. Is there anyone that you've seen out there that's been inspirational for you? That you've enjoyed watching what they're doing and how they're doing it?
Well, you just talked to Sarah Ronhold a few weeks ago, right? Of course, no one's gonna miss on her, and I love following her. She's just great, building up this community and bringing more girls and women to fishing, and that's probably one of the most exciting women out there for me watching. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're dead right. I think she's so super cool, and what she's doing,
she's really cool. Yeah.
yeah, is absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I will echo your endorsement as well of that. But you talked that you fish in Austria 3 or 4 times a year. Have you travelled anywhere else with the fly rod?
No, I haven't. It's so bad. I'd love to travel around much more, but I really just don't have the time with these small kids and work. So I'm planning to go fishing next year, maybe for a week on my own, but I haven't decided where to go yet. I'd love to go to the Dolomites. I'd love to go to Spain. I'd love to go to Scotland. I'd love to go to Japan. So there's still so many places to see and visit. But right now it's just fishing here in my part of Germany and Austria. Yeah.
And we often say on here that there's no place like home, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But of course, it's great to see other places, right? Especially if you see all these other people at these wonderful, beautiful places on our planet. And to be there one day would be wonderful. Yeah.
Can't recommend the Dolomites highly enough. I absolutely love it there. It's becoming my second home, and I love
Yeah, maybe maybe I'll make it there next year. I don't know. I'd really love to see it. It must be really, really great.
yeah, it's a fantastic place. The people, the food, the whole thing is just wonderful, and I love it very, very much. There, it is great. But so we've touched on those. Would they be the ultimate dream destinations, or say your lotto numbers came up and you could travel anywhere in the world? Where would it be? Where's the one place that you look at these places and think, this is where I would love to be?
Well, I'm actually, I'd love to win in lotto. That's what I'm dreaming of. I'd stop working right away and
Okay.
just travel around all the world, just fly fishing. And I guess right now it would probably be Japan because it must be amazing. And or in northern Scotland would also be a place I'd really like to see.
Good choices. Good choices. And Japan's a real sort of left field that we all know about, but don't know so much about from that point of view, isn't it? And the cherry salmon and some of those other species that they're fishing for. And I get the sense that they're incredibly passionate there about fly fishing in Japan
Yeah.
as well, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay. So this is the really tricky question. You've got that
Oh no.
car journey. Yeah, you've got the car journey. You even said that you put music on. So, what is the song that sets the mood for that journey to the river? What's the number one song that we can tell people about and share with people?
Well, I guess it would be something from Arcade Fire, probably Rebellion Lies, I guess. I love Arcade Fire, yeah. You can take that one. Just take Arcade Fire and Rebellion Lies.
Rebellion Lies. I'm writing that down. That very, very good choice. Well, that's fantastic. We've been having a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure everyone will get a sense of Hannah's enthusiasm for our pastime. She feels just like we do about it. And if you dip into her socials as well, that you will see it extends into there as well. And it's so positive. It's just lovely about enjoying what we do and why we do it. So, Hannah, if people want to follow you, how do they find you?
If somebody wants to follow me, of course, I'm happy. Just get in contact with me and my name on. I'm only on Instagram. I'm nowhere else because I try to do other things in my life instead of only being on social media. But it would be Black Forest Trout. That's my name on Instagram. That would probably be the easiest way to get in contact with me.
Be sure to give her a follow because, as I said, it's positive, it's good, and this is one of the reasons that we got chatting as well on Instagram. And I've been asking Hannah for a little while to come along and talk with me, and we've finally got everything into place for that. So go give her a follow. There's good people in our community, and we want to share our stories and talk about the good things that we're doing out there. So, Hannah, I wish you every success with your continuing fishing career. I hope the winter isn't too long for you. I hope that your fly boxes get filled up. And I would
Yeah.
like, I would love to. Look forward to seeing pictures of those before too long. But I'd like to say a massive thank you for speaking with me on the podcast today. It's been great to catch up. And as I said, your enthusiasm, love, and passion for our pastime is infectious, and long may that continue.
Thank you, Pete, for inviting me. It was really fun, and I'm happy we finally made it. I love your podcast, and it's really exciting to follow. And thanks so much for letting me be part of this today. Yeah.
That's been great. Well, thank you again. Everyone, this has been another episode of the Fly Culture podcast. Thank you so much for listening. There'll never be any charge for these. I just enjoy talking to people like Hannah about their love, their passion for fly fishing. So thank you so much for listening.
The Fly Culture podcast is brought to you in association with Fly Culture, a quarterly published magazine owned and run by fly anglers. When it comes to fly fishing, we've got you covered.